Time for more live Q&A and some super chats. Great way to get on the show. Hashtag NFL or super chat. AM Hunter has a fun trade idea for Trent Williams and for the Vikings and for the Redskins. He's got Trent for 2 4th-round picks, a 5th-rounder, and Riley Reef as well. So that one's kind of interesting. So let me get you guys the exact picks here. The Vikings only have 1 4th, so I'll pretend it's a 4th this year and a 4th next year. So that is number 132 this year, number 155 this year, a 4th next year, and then Riley Reef. Tell you what, I actually kind of like that deal a lot. I don't know if it goes down, but I think Minnesota would have some interest in that one. I think that one actually could make sense for both sides. So, AM, I like that trade. All right, Donnie Couch says, Peter King reported a rumor the Chiefs could trade for Henry Ruggs if he falls. Could this happen, and how far could he fall in the draft? Yeah, it's not going to happen. Like, I'm sure the Chiefs have interest. I believe that from King, that he says, hey, the Chiefs, they would love to get him because they just covet speed. I totally buy that. I don't see him getting out of the top 15. I really don't. And if he does, he's not getting past till 21. That is his floor. There's no way the Eagles pass on him. And I don't think the Chiefs would then attempt to move up from 32 overall to get to, let's just say, 17, which is where the Cowboys are at. That's such a significant asking price that I don't think it ends up going down. So I'm sure the Chiefs would love to get Henry Ruggs. It'd be a great addition to that roster. Oh, man. Hill and Ruggs and Watkins and Mecole Hardman, that's some speed on that front. But I don't think it ends up happening for Kansas City. So if you're a Chiefs fan, maybe don't get your hopes up. From Mohammed, where will Jameis Winston sign? Great question. I don't know yet. If he wants to sign a cheap backup deal, I think Pittsburgh would be a great fit for him. I really do. If he wants to try and get more playing time, I think Jacksonville could make sense. Or, if one of the Chargers, Dolphins don't go quarterback. But I think Winston, Newton are kind of in this awkward spot where they're going to have to wait and see what happens in the NFL draft. Another super chat from JG. Thank you, my friend. If cut by the Texans, the Cowboys take Stills. If he were to be cut, I think the Cowboys would be among the teams with interest. I think you could see the Niners have some interest. Maybe the Eagles could have interest. The Patriots as well. A variety of teams could use a player like Kenny Stills. $7 million, a little bit expensive. But 3 or 4, well, that will draw interest for Kenny Stills. William McLean, Niners trade for Evan Engram. This is not the first time I've heard this, by the way. This is a rumor out there. You can check out our 49ers report. Thomas Mott broke this down earlier today. The Niners, I think, are looking for another tight end option. Not to replace George Kittle, but I think they want to utilize more 2 tight end looks. And Evan Engram could maybe have it on the cheap. I don't think he ends up being available on the cheap, but I think the Niners would love to acquire him to pair with Kittle. Engram would really just be a big slot for that team, and that's interesting. In the end, I don't think Engram goes to San Francisco. They also had interest in Austin Hooper, but that got too expensive. But I think the Niners could be a surprise team. So even if they move down to round 2 or round 3, take one of those first tight ends off the board. From Mike McCarthy, with the draft having any technical issues? Possible. They had issues with their mock draft trial run today. There was a glitch for pick number 1, and then the GMs didn't all mute themselves, so everyone was talking at once, and it was just kind of hysterical. Things got better after that, so I think the trial run was important for the NFL. But I think there's you got 255 picks this year. Someone's going to have an issue. I don't know how bad it'll be, but yeah, I think there's a chance that something happens and they kind of panic and got to do something different. So I think, yeah, there will be some issues for this year's NFL draft. Speaking of that draft, folks, who is your number 1 prospect this year? Let me know what you guys think. Is it Chase Young? Is it Joe Burrow? Is it somebody else? You can see my big board coming out here in a day or so. But let me know what you guys think. Who is your top prospect this year? I want to hear what you guys have to say. So you hit with the ad break here on YouTube. I want you to scroll down to the pinned comment. I've made that question the pinned comment so you guys can cast your votes and your guesses down there. I don't know how to pronounce this name. I'm going to call she. What could the Bears trade for Odell Beckham? Allen Robinson and a pick. Like, the Bears have no assets. Like, the Bears are kind of in a pretty tight cap spot that they probably would have a tough time even adding Odell Beckham, which they could do, but it'd just be kind of tricky. 2 seconds, I don't think that gets it done. So if you're a Bears fan wanting Odell Beckham, don't get your hopes up there. All right, Rodrigo Sosa, who in the draft best fits with the Colts? Love your show, by the way. I know that they like Jordan Love a lot entering this year. I don't think they like Justin Herbert on entry this year. Those guys might not end up being there. I know they liked Kinlaw a lot, but then they traded for DeForest Buckner, and he's got medical issues. I think Christian Fulton, Michael Pittman, Denzel Mims, Jalen Reagor all make some sense at those early round 2 ranges, maybe even Pittman as soon as 34 overall. I think receiver corner, some of those guys I just mentioned, could end up making some sense in the end. Now, I have a request for you guys, okay? I want you to make sure that your notifications are turned on. We got almost 800 people watching right now, and I know that not all of you do. Only 18.5 of you guys who are subscribed actually do. So here's what you're going to do. Scroll down, click the notification little bell on your video. Make sure it says all and not personalized. Because if it's personalized, you will end up missing out on video. So instead, make sure it's set to all overall. That way, get that number up, and you guys won't miss a single video here at Chat Sports. All right, next up from Dalton Smith, which linebacker is the best fit for the Saints? I kind of think that either Patrick Queen or Kenneth Murray would make sense. I think Murray might just barely fit more of what they've historically liked, but they've got some similarities. I trust Queen more in coverage, and I trust Murray more as a bit of a kind of run, chase, and hit guy at this point. So I think you could fit both those guys on your roster. If you want the local kid, go with Queen, but I think Murray's the better prospect right now. All right, from Gabrielle Aldana, what will the Niners do at 31? I think a trade down is very likely. If they keep it, offensive line could make some sense. Maybe a surprise defensive tackle pick. And I think corner too. The issue for San Francisco is that there aren't that many guys who fit their prototype at corner in terms of the arm length and wingspan that they covet. But Trevon Diggs might be there. If he is, I think San Francisco makes sense at that point. All right, Jeff Rogers back again. Thank you, Jeff. Will Okudah fall in the draft? If there will be a defensive player, I think, who falls in the draft in terms of where they're going to go early. So Isaiah Simmons, for example, if the Lions pass on him and the Giants don't take him, he might be there at 7 or 8. And Okudah could be in a similar boat. Now, what it requires is Simmons to go 3, Giants to go O-line, Dolphin Chargers to not go corner. They could slide to 7. Anything past 7 would be a real surprise to me. It means that there's probably been some chaos early. So he could slide out of that top 5 range. I don't see him falling, though, out of the top 10. And if he gets to 7 or 8, there could be a team that moves up to attempt to get them. If it does happen, we'll tell you about it first here at Chat Sports, because we're going to be live for all 7 rounds of the NFL draft. It'll be way more interactive, by the way, than some of the other channels, because that's what we do here at Chat Sports. We have a good time with everyone watching. That's why we love you guys so much. All 7 rounds, every single pick, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You guys will be able to grade the picks. It'll be a blast. And by the way, unlike the other channels, we'll talk about all the players too. We won't just disappear for day 3 and not be on air and not talk about the players who end up being taken instead. All right, Caleb Mims, the Denver Broncos go receiver or OT? I think receiver is more likely. I would not rule out a tackle altogether in round 1, but I think receiver is the path that the Broncos choose to go. Be it a Jerry Jeudy or Henry Ruggs or a CeeDee Lamb, maybe even in a trade up, I think Denver adds an extra receiver in round 1. Carlos Rivera, will the Giants trade down? Let me get a quick sip here. I think they're kind of trying to for once. Dave Gettleman has never done it before in round 1. He's never been a trade down guy. But guess what? He has no 3rd round pick. He would like to get one. So they'll try to trade down. In the end, though, I think the Giants stand pat at number 4 overall and probably end up taking an offensive lineman. So would you guys rather trade up or down? Just in general here. Up or down? Which would you prefer to do? Would you rather move up and get better quality players or go for the quantity route and end up getting more options instead? Let me know what you guys think. U for up, D for down. In general, I am on team trade down in the NFL, but of course, it does require a trade partner to actually pull off either in the end. All right, from DeLunatic, odds Jamal Adams trade happens after the draft for Dallas. I mean, I still think you're looking at maybe 20, 25%. I don't know how much the draft would impact the Cowboys' plans. If they go safety in round 1 or round 2, things could change there. But I still think if an Adams trade happens, it's probably a little bit more likely it happens after the draft, maybe before the season, than it does during the actual NFL draft. Nathaniel Ruiz, how likely do you see the Patriots won't draft a quarterback until round 6 or 7? It's possible. I think they're going to take someone this year, but the Patriots don't have a round 2 pick, and in most cases, there are of course exceptions. Patriots have 2 of them, Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett. Potential starters aren't found outside of round 1. So I'm sure there are some guys the Patriots end up liking here, but I think for New England, I think it is more likely they'll wait on a quarterback than take one in round 1, but I will fully admit, I don't know what they're going to end up doing. So from that perspective, they're a bit of a wild card. All right, Oscar, will the Eagles trade up in the first round to get a wide receiver? Very possible. If maybe there's a run, around picks 12 and 11 and 10, maybe the Niners try to move down. That's possible. Or the Bucs move down, or whoever's at 15 moves down. So they might try to go up and get one, but I think Philly might end up standing pat this year. But I would not be surprised if they got aggressive and moved up. From Rishi, if the Niners are fielding calls on Goodwin, should they try to immediately swindle the Texans? Well, of course, you always call Houston right now because if you're an NFL organization, you're trying to make your team as best as possible. Just try and do bad to other teams. Take advantage of them. So I don't think Houston's going to go after another receiver because they got too many as is, but you at least try to call them. Just makes sense, right? Now we got some deals for you guys. Speaking of the Niners, draft hats. They're out at chatsports.com/NFL draft hat. That is chatsports.com/NFL draft hat. We'll get that link in the comments and the description for you guys. All types of styles. They've got the more rounded brims, the flat bills. They got fitted and adjustable on the back as well. So go check them out today. They're available. Get them in before, it takes too long to order because they're going to be off the shelves once you start seeing the players put them on. It's at chatsports.com/NFL draft hat. And don't worry, that link will be in the comments and the description of this video. All right, Bray, better team, Buffalo or New England? Based on right now, given the Patriots are going to start Jarrett Stidham, as weird as this sounds, give me Buffalo. I will, of course, also make note, I reserve the right to change my mind based on what happens in the NFL draft. Philip Hurl, any chance Detroit takes CeeDee Lamb at number 3? I can never say never, but no, it's not going to happen. I would be stunned. If there is a surprise pick by Detroit, it's probably Derek Brown instead, but I think Okudah, Simmons, then Brown are the very, very, more likely options for Detroit. I don't see him going receiver in round 1. All right, a super chat from Rim here, using euros, it looks like. Chances of Trautman to be drafted as the first tight end. I think Adam Trautman and Cole Kmet of Notre Dame, one of those two will be the first tight end taken. What I don't know will be is where they end up going. They might not go in round 2. Maybe the Redskins at 66 the first team to actually go tight end. It's not a great tight end class. Kmet and Trautman both have some upside, but I would be very surprised if inside the top 50, either of those guys went. But I think Trautman, almost 50-50 chance with Cole Kmet.